Right. Mancho muligire bweta TV iganga naende twasoire ase ekengese keli chiko ekengese keli kiengencho getorengeta semambe yabono inyora lero na lamisi yeli chiko ekero mwakilo ito aigete karake ase studio tochiko sanga mange mono tochikumulekera igoro yoboende bwokonyora information gosamangana mono abaliki banyolera bokongu chingake chigachia demonstrations abandi batwalire chinguma abandi babera abducted abandi babera tortured namangana ndamange ayuagende tokolekana essence ya Kenya wono tochikuligererianga information access to information and media freedom neririye buna intwe abaliki are we protected by the constitution because at the end of the day ni intu tokonyora bokongu ni intu konyora tokumnyokaga chitiya gas bantu mbali to recognize one media ya so kirego tebaga enough is enough. Don't we have the right of accessing information? Don't we have rights chiko tolenda bunabaliki and all those igo ndocho kwanera yumono of course ndokwanera mangana a demonstrations korwa asekyumbeki ya Gen Z ngabono ya beire bono ya turn into destructions tomanyanga who to blame, who is accountable na kya bantu bakonyora justice yabo ekogera omonto tagore tweduka yae omonto obunere twebintu bya ere ngayibona guchikonyora this justice gati yanda mange asemambe yabono igo ikaransuike agarto semanie asenchire ndonge Facebook no tule live bunetaya TV gabo YouTube tuko pale bunetaya TV na chira bakonyora muna sara Ontita fan page na breto makole manyora fan page ya Facebook agarto sange asobwa SMS number nigere on 0735 333000 igo ikaransuike agarto chake ekengese kega asenchire ndonge kigima. Karibu sana my learned friend, karibu sana Tony, karibu sana wakili OCP. Yes,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bweta TV no mwakili Hilary Ongori Tom, advocate of the High Court of Kenya okorobo kali bwa lichiko asiense ya Kenya.
Yes.
Karibu ase kipindi kia lichiko aseta TV.
All right. Biamano nere advocate Hilary Ongori Tom, the advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Abako monyora kwara mororije naende ngwana ronga kiroge naende ore activist the other side. Amona piginia rule of law. All right. Nere gaiga ase studio na bako moralero last week twalege na wakili George Murarabwakuma kolendero tari kunyara wikirana na kiagarire Hilary Ongori Tom ochire amo represent ko morochiga jue wako ako hapa kwa niaba yake na kwa niaba yake yeye mwenyewe. Wakile tutaraenda tambe ase litukulia lero ndongere twale ko argue sana. Tumeargue na Brighton, tumeargue no Manchu Muligera, tumeargue na Thomas Ongoto mpaka Joshua Uta. President isokobanga resign right now. Resign. Rigathi Gachagua can hold office of president. What will happen? Can we see a vacuum or sengikera?
The resignation or the inability of the president to hold office through resignation, the procedure followed laid out in the constitution, whereby the deputy will take up responsibility of the president of the Republic of Kenya. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Ataanza majukumu.
Vacancy, it is the issue of vacancy. Vacancy of the office of the president.
Yes.
Under Article 144.
Yeah.
Ekero president ya very ngateli office. Then the deputy will take over. Engabuna bone kere governor ya very impeached. Because I failed to hold office for one reason or the other. Kera asiri na bonto from Bomet. Kero Moswati
Joyce Labosa
asiri deputy ya go take up.
Nyagarama.
Yes. Nyagarama is another case. Tobuate nyalibo no asoetaro. So any issue ego tokanga there is a vacancy in the office of the president, then the deputy will take up the responsibility of the president, and then the process you appoint a deputy na yarebu atie kuna katibego correct egoteka. So that deputy resumes the position of president was a governor, and then that governor, new governor now, or the president now starts a process you correct you go back a deputy as a office.
Right.
Yes.
We were arguing got the president is ko resign go back kwenda kapaka ne deputy because nero appointed because the deputy takes orders from president may resign so we inga yaje ko orders
there have been arguments, even cases from even the Wajir case governorship, there have been arguments in bago service as a ticket.
Yes.
And when you bago service as a ticket, then they should be able to take Royo Majiro, you know, correct again. Na kibona the question, very posed even in court several ki deputy, for example, any governor, for example, city. But the law provides in all year principal assistant Nerebono go take that role as the president or as the governor. Na endo inyolega qualifications chokobe deputy governor, qualifications chokobe deputy president are equivalent to the qualifications chokoba a president na koba a governor, so that in any event this president or this governor is not in capacity to hold that office, or so ceased to hold office for one reason or the other, whether through impeachment or through death, whether through resignation, then no montolina about the capability. You go so in that office, run that office as the president or as the governor.
All right.
Yes.
And what if the president now dissolves the whole government?
The president dissolve the entire government. Then it will meaning in the executive arm. Hold office into whether the procedure the speaker. I hold the power for a certain period, and then election and to make another government. You got to dissolve is idea parliament. And I was dissolve yours. So there is those checks and balances. Separation of powers. So I'm dissolving this side, Nada dissolve the other side. There must be a procedure to go transit from this government to the other.
All right.
Yes.
You've put it clear, deputy president or deputy governor. Navago take responsibility. Chief president was a governor. Mpaka panyo already the deputy bono. Wakili, back to whatever we are discussing about. It's access of information and freedom of the media. Kwarore to target of the recent past kolengana na okorobekano kogenderete. The recent one kwaroche the veteran journalist na vete we call it abducted. What is really an abducting?
The difference is abduction, arrest.
Arrest. The real arrest.
Yes.
Because we don't know, is this a real arrest or what is happening? To a very target. What can you say about this? This incident is kwanza the process of accessing information according to the constitution.
Totaraji go so abungwira nilindo moralia. Mbuya to bwigorere omurigere bweta TV elinde anyore information.
Yes.
One of the roles of the media is also to give information to the public. The media was the press. The fourth estate.
Yeah, the fourth estate.
There is nega neirio monto trace back ngaki tu ikirete baka tuara the media yekuru the fourth estate. Ekaruto kuligeri in the Roman political setup ya bukare from the 18th century.
Yes.
Nkonyo warole ngantu abwate amangana kurukunga nobility. Nobility n'abantu bali bano kings, royals, queens n'abantu bangabunayo.
Yes.
Ntu abwate abantu tokurukanga the commoners. The commoners born n'abana engineer. Na then ntu abwate the clergy. That is how it was divided abukare. Ekanisa abantu bali bakurukunga the royals,
the commoners.
And the commoners. Commoners born n'abana engineer. Bono these commoners mba abwate buna bono konyoro bono paka boni ngeka ndata boni in Britain. Konyoro le ngantu bwate tokurukanga House of Commons. Bono ne bono ya chire kailbo luko chago pake togacha kutuara parliament, togacha kutuara the executive, na ado kamanya gocha kutuara the judiciary. So koru 1840s and 1820s abuare kale anta bacha to refer to the media as the fourth estate ne linga aliyese bunge ya alingi asebi karanso bi alingi bi abantu bago kwana the House of Commons as a parliament ya rekobe parliament ya bwate set up mbai karastaro na abu ese parliament ntu abwate representatives from the executive na ande ntu abwate representatives baba na inchi but in the gallery ase gallery bon ega wese bunge reporters mbali ngaro bono that is when umuntu yomukuru kunga Thomas Kyle megati commenting aki apart from these three components chia the state chiraro there is a fourth power ere ali ese gallery na ase gallery abantu bari gutoko reporters na balikia mangana be magazeti na abantu bago taka koleta information yeye egendere bono the commoners Troji abu no tu arurete tukachaka kuruka the media the fourth estate.
All right.
Troji so the role of the media ase these three arms of government chirebono chiaboni gatokukwanira echiche evolve gocha clergy ya ruro baka twachire gutwara these arms of government isa totomanyete nabo ya chire gocha ngaki once we have this fourth arm of government egasi ya the fourth arm of government noko okoba an interlink in fact as naroro in the French Revolution ya igete bono the fourth estate gachaka kurukunga the great power that fourth estate is the greatest of all the three arms of government nkia kobirukerunga the greatest ekero executive ego ikirani chiko ekero legislature go se parliament ekoro asiri chiko ekero judiciary ego interpret lichiko at the end of the day amangana ya igago koruna these three powers ngakiago ikira the people who are supreme whether as reporters whether through the media and so egatoka ngabono the media ne abugate semerene paka bona toko gamba iga as a democracy and once asobo sibole bonde bwensi toko kwanira media is at the center as a media gotoka in the center umolile bwita TV na boko nyoranga na boninga ekere serikali go articulate policies chaye ekoteba ngostu abutire minister we learn this through the media
from media
ekero protesters bakoteba these are our demands we learn those demands from the media so the media is at the center a media bone etakere kuligere ligunga ki etakere ko protected na ende in international standards the freedom of the media is one of those things they cover an assessment point you would determine whether a country is free in terms of democracy or not. You know, a brief background. Igoria mangana media freedom.
Ye fourth estate
ye fourth estate na adinga kire ya muhimu. Bono tocha asali bodi ya gomoralia igoria ngaki aba ralia ba mangana abaliki ba mangana reporters ba kominyokiwa na andingira ni rabwe sina akolere ngaki egente getanga ni assessment ya democracy and once is how the journalists are treated. Angela journalists back over treated is one of those things okuli requirement go determining aki is this a dictatorship or is it a democratic country. Ekaroko nyora ngaki omuntu obogolitie camera that is not a weapon is there to report is there to ensure ngaki nkikegendrete why is this person there one nabwate the freedom of the media under article 34 ye katiba number 2 ntubwate right of expression under article 33 ye katiba number 3 is also that we have a right to access to information under article 35 ebi bunge ebi bye katiba oligere na ande bibi na bibwata in ebigane iriko waka amo no bwate right to express no bwate right ya media na no bwate right ya access of information in these rights just to bwate na kwanete gore ya duty bearers and right holders a duty bearer no muntu oli bwate or mandated ne katiba wenshuwa ngaki oikiraniri good environment and circumstances elindo bantu bari realize their rights that is always the serikali inere role serikali bwate ngaki itagete wenshuwa abantu mpa ko realize their right to expression the freedom of media nera ro nda abantu ngo access wale information right holders ni into unaba Kenya ne media houses ne journalists go brave the tear gas also apaka agali se street oreta mangana
the real event
sababu ko reconnect mwana inchi nabo ate right to access information Igo media ngwate abali ekero twari koigoro mujadala nga media nebwate right to access information. Yes, but that right is more to omwananchi.
Yes.
Media should facilitate omwananchi to realize that that
media
right
is the link.
Is the link.
Yes.
So igo all attacks chabairi including abductions. Buna bono rocho muntu ulio agetu Catherine Wanjiru.
Yes.
Ekara arasetu Nakuru. Ekara akubwata the protest machiganda. What wrong did she commit?
And she was in full uniform here.
Pakabegete pake press ni. Kit kabisa manya kanite ngono mwana habari. That is the press. Why should you shoot at the press?
Yes.
Unless gutagete gutange kene nkemanyikana, you are suppressing the truth and you are threatening them. That is what I can say. The state has resulted to threatening and giving fear, which is a media. And the agenda is to ensure that the public do not access information. Exercise their right to express themselves. This protest is because people have access to information. Abantu mbapata details inga kikega ndata serikali mbamanyete katiba yabo bunere mbamanyete their laws. And some of these things have been things we are over time. Abana inchi have been educated by the media. Bona buna kwa ndaiterega igalero ngambe igori ngane yiga abantu baito batoligerete they getting information ngaki ndoje nimbwato bosiboro bono. So if the government is suppressing the media freedom, agenda nilinga kimba nyorekene. Nekeraba na inchi bataliko nyorekene, they will not be in a position to exercise their rights to express themselves. Is that a democracy or a dictatorship? So those are the things we call about a democratic country.
All right.
Yes.
Pia mara sana wakili asokobika burungenga, media is the backbone of getting information to our viewers, also mwananchi, because a right accessing of information here at Article 35 what's happening around them. And you cannot get this information on your media a lot of information from media.
Yes.
And press statement it is from the media, but we are being oppressed. Wakili, look at the case of that girl, whatever. She was very innocent, and by the way, people must know it is not always a camera. You should not camera. I don't want to media. But for now, we have become off target. That's why abali kibon spimbate tukumira na bara kora Article 37 bara picket kabisa by the petitions which the relevant authorities. So Wakili, these abductors abantu bachakira thenga esere bono buno yo gaito yo bwate tuturi nkwarochi buna akuigatirwa chigalime like kuvuga ne gunia. Then they say it is a mistaken identity. When a case becomes a mistaken identity, when is it a mistaken identity?
Ya mono tiga naenda turaligeria muriela bweta TV.
Yeah.
Ntobugata an arrest. Na ndio tubwata an abduction.
An abduction.
An arrest. Ekarogo chakoba arrested. Ngocha ngote binga kisara. Inche nongoli. Tom. I'm an officer. I am here and I have orders to arrest you on 1, 2, 3 reasons. You can accompany us to the station. So there is an introduction.
Yeah.
This is what is happening in an arrest. This is the reason for arrest. And you have a right to be represented. Are you on single coherence? Na ando you are akwana boniga na to make against you
in the court of law.
And the court of law, and you have a right to remain silent. Ikinega totoko kasi likonga the Miranda cautionary warnings from a case established thing akiko iko notify umuntu. That is an arrest.
Na ndonye warrant kero you can show
an arrest na bego correct but what we are seeing from the instance bona ya Keter, Alfred Keter, the manner in which I've got it. Abantu ba to betoboshu identities chabo
withheld.
You might as well find even they are not police officers. They do not want to tell you nabogo to accompany to the police. They are whisking you away. That becomes an abduction.
Okay.
Because it does not follow the parameters choko arrest yo muntu tamaiti sababu akorek ako arrested
tabuate tamaiti na vambara
ne karabona ya to kaninga egenteke omaite it is just by egesio ya nya ale kanitenga ba very covered a video is there when abduction is happening onye ndito tabuate video kangamba to te bigo ra mistaken identity which means ngaki okoteba mistaken identity is something tokoroka an afterthought ene kerengere liya chete ma ganga ki ndoche ngane yebona ya sare morobili to kuna twabwate okatire o sare na endo manyaiga one of the means state yego tumeka serikali yego tumia noko kubwata kora koira umaite one sema ngana spreading kwa bera abducted to the state as yomuntu bona buna mashari gaido they had a pressmen they had a reporters na baro bago twaro go na banga mbaje ko mokorera kendo lakini one thing ndokiria spreading aki umuntu na babwa twegesa kweke wose Catherine Wanjiru bona buna arasitu ngora siru other press people ba kobwa those are threats the manner in which ba execute and they can never no bwata reason yoko taka kubwata that mashari gaido onye ba ko there is a mistaken identity who are they mistaken him for karoma to ta mistaken identity iko muntu nari kwata gete kubwata in the first place yukwata gete kubwata obweke ina mashari ya gaido bono kwa nyoranga bono kwa bwata mashari gaido so those are excuses choko gendra go perpetrate threats choko gendra go suppress the media which is not a sign of a democratic country and democratic leadership yes
because we were wondering a mistaken identity. Is that an excuse? Mwabwate monto na kimo na anya ninche wate te kubwata na kiura bwate monto mga ngansara to te kubwata anyora to kubwatire and why akonyora this abantu abatali ko by in uniform because abductors abange tuarudre either na ba abduct bako iro ko police station like they are not in police uniform to kocha kumanyanga why are they not in their police uniform
mna roche the former cabinet secretary Kindiki okotebanga mumanye the manner in which togo enjira yoko manage crowds is different from other policing it is a unique kind of thing kekane tinga na bokonyora abantu bande bali in plain clothes but rendo nyumuntu kabwa teligo also aseki sheria you should identify yourself the issue is not even na baba plain clothes is fine but have you identified yourself as a police officer?
Yes, that's the point.
If you might on a uniform the agenda of uniform is identification so that you mondo yo chani chabona ndi ganta benga ki jinu muskali I've identified myself esababu ngocha kokubwatra nere so na bonda atwale uniform na boko nyoro ma etana na bakora baro ma ba gutwara chipo badere ni chiga para bacha ko sangereria SS but at the end of the day ndo to tema kelinga ki a uniform is an issue of identification abantu abayigango chapali no mochoko ba identify themselves mashari agaido anga ko and station gosiba morangalinga ki ya umuntu kuno is a respected editor is a journalist of experience
for a long time
summon to the police station motenga ki for 1 or 2 3 reasons in choose
as tole naro chekyombe kia independent policing oversight authority kia tebi gusana gikoro obotuki especially each instance chibere cho muswati ujo na masharia gaito lakini to my surprise naro che the director muswati liokotebanga they are barred from getting the information from other fellow ababusabandi babanyanyimbo. You know, when you are doing investigation, so it's like with that information, but other cases, even the police themselves, access the information to speed up the investigations. What does that mean?
The independent police oversighting authority, ne civilian, civilian institution, a separate, independent, a collegiate, amangana gotoka as a police, ngaki amangana mechando, the when she gotoka as a police, ngaki tokonya handle complaints against the police. How do we handle them? Those are it's like a civilian kind of body, a check on the excesses of the police. One of these police. Abubata keire koru also to cooperate with IPOA elinde information yeto kenga kia mangana yakoba are the same people who are protecting ourselves. It goes again to protecting those people bali bakoleta mamocho kora kianga ki ntobu ati goodwill ntora atambuanga nekebe ekero muskali yako mukora sabantu bali unarmed abaskali abanyane mbara ikrasi ba understanding aki egente kega nekebe for good governance nega neri abantu abayiga the power to bayete you maintain order in society ever checked and that body egonye check na ipoa if they do not cooperate with that body and that cha omanya go cha story cha lamenting aki tabuga atyenjira it means ngabona ipoa ya beira toothless dog tebuga tinguru cho koraga gas was there cover enabled go say the state itself nko chakere ko beke mekorogoto njira elinde te ikrani the purpose yae ne sababu twageti ko ikrani purpose inelinga ki a state born is being accused. It goes back to the issue tokra kwana gabotana independence of institutions independence of the judiciary independent commissions chire established under the law mo Kenya no yana yo muri libwe tativi ntote benga these institutions chaikira independence eliye kwanire se katibu no igonto bwati sabali entambe yo ko realizing that these independent institutions ngokora chire gasiri chikane likokora kuna bona ipoa neikire kuna toko gendera go fight for these things be independent neikire astoko chakonyoranga ki bona ipoa ngokorire gasi korengana bude korete bunega ni likokora na ende no na baskali abanyene mpaka ni iliko semigwanga ki for good governance and also to ensure nga serikali ngogendere buja a duty holder you are the state nita kerekote ya baskali ngaki this is what a progressive society looks like elinda to chake ko gain independence of those institutions.
All right. Yes. Pia mwana sana wakili Hilary Ongoritom, the advocate of the High Court of Kenya na ende omwakili mwara umeranire usonga iga mwara umeranire asamangana yokorera haki na rumustali bosi of course bakubatira naba wakili bande to kwanira igoro yo boyende bokonyora information access to information to anyorenga articles 33 34 35 neruteli baga especially just abantu ba media kiagera of late abantu be media babaire target mbali konyora the information they want okwenda somonto you want them to comment asegento gete kemolengete omonto kolina that information na endere the right person watching comment about something so abantu bamanye what's happening omonto baba not saying because to ebitu etere even including myself omonto okani kwa the information and is the right person yokorwa that information yonko genda bamincha ni katiba media to already bakoba the victims korwa sechi ngoma chidindi abande moroche bali chinyagitali abande bakorutu even from the moving vehicles nkwaroche ekara mandamana abitetensi mono there is another issue wakili tuarojenga parliament ya sikire media or access parliament business ngasengenjo mbamulike what happened in parliament. Which powers do parliament have go bar the media from accessing what is happening in there?
I think that was a wrong move by parliament kutaka kutanga the media. Ikiagara umanyete noena mangana ya media ko air this live sessions cha parliament is one of the gains to anyo from the new constitution. Previous didn't to amanyete ntu alikomanya kufuatilia nkikega na ande ya lenge koroka na ngabono mangana yo korane the country and the parliament niko yali operate na bali bona ba operate boka bacha gotoa matokeo. So one of the gains to anyo from the new constitution nelinga kintu acha bona konyora live coverage ya parliament to amanyanga ki our representatives bali batotomete ga bunge ngas kibao kora. So the move by parliament itself to bar ngabona ntu mba muri kukolenga na buna mangana agenda mba kore that coverage is a wrong move in the first place. Omanya that this right to freedom of media nebu at the limitation. All the rights in Chiro Toko Tabanga Tabu at limitations. When about the right to life, you cannot limit the right to life.
Okay.
But a right to the freedom of media, nebu at the limitations. Chai. Now limitations chai echiko to kase article 33. two asa mangana ya freedom of expression nga freedom of expression yejeiga and freedom of media ekaruga hasta ku express ekaruga hasta ko nyora this information nega ne iriteba information yego inside propaganda to war incitement to violence go say ko discriminatory under those things chikwanira as article 27 asa mangana discrimination including gender status na mangana ngabunayo but bone karo parliament yego ikiranga bono ngubani nga media teto karo eba gutaka gutumia those limitations to justify okubatanga mbakora mbacha bunge but this bar of the media from covering again to kaganda bunge nkige korokia is it justified under the law at the end of the day ekatiba nekerore kuna tokora atebyo muligeria weta gutanga okoligeria sekerore kwa ranga gaike mwankero kwa rusi ogotango ko iga kwe media te baise gotoka te so abunge tororenga nkiganda ta bunge ekero ba koligeria whatever justification ba rule nko bajire justified nekatiba amangana ali coverage iri abete was it incitement to violence was it something very discriminatory was it propaganda for war it is unhappening people were dissatisfied with the parliament people were telling parliament reject this bill but parliament was saying we are going to say yes
to vote yes
so what role media akolete gali ego justify the bar and if that bar justification itself is it reflected ya se katiba asa mangana ya gukwanirwa under article 33 aboro na kibo neta gero chikurire runga ki ngikere but I know for sure nga egende kiyo gotanga ngeri go chikoerera abu paka togenda konyora an interpretation ko seke gambero nganga ki mbale justified gotanga
media to access anything from parliament because if they do that
to access the information so that we can use that information to exercise our rights
because there's something twalgona kwagio na Brighton ya gotebanga amandamana atukuna gotebanga wikabe peaceful when is amandamana ko ba peaceful because Brighton gotebanga nchine biasara byana na arenge goji then abantu abakorobekani katibe baete that right cyo korobekana nchete ndi korobekana nteto ko ende bintu byane but bono nche bantanga so Brighton ngwa yalenga incherende ntatagiti korobekana ntete nchiko yendra nebintu byane don't you thinking ekwende some rights cover right chiri rights chabantu bande
nchika ni cover right actually Brighton's argument is right ekaro exercise your right to picket the first reason neta gere ko peaceful and unarmed utaliko ba armed is so that you don't infringe rights chabantu bande omaete sara your rights echiko era se chiane chiko chake so to goja na ndo cho so se chiane
umeongea kabila niambia hapa asubuhi
your rights as chiko era
se chiane chiko era
no chiane chiko chake
all right
so to konyara go teba ngaki nga rights njiro chiko balapu se chinde go
okay
to gotumia your right go salie yane so right yago ase go ikira no correct so we should be able to exercise these rights amo lakini le kwama na koligerelinga ki set up tole this right to picket and present petitions before public authorities is evolving ngora ngonya go change ama andamana ale ko koru in the 90s na maandamana yako korobo there is some progress ya kolete konya kobaro though and still rights cha jugo picket buna ere Kenya as we speak boniga as even we grow ngwa affect chire rights chabanya biasara bande bakora ibintu byabo ekyara bona karugwa twaliro obwoba nganga ki tindiko chikoyoro sine biasara you know that right yayo gukora biasara bya yakora kyabe infringe but also it should be noted ngaki asama na bana una yagendre ngogo kozo obwoba it is those people who sponsor goons to infiltrate business. Amanda mana abeta formula one for example 18th of June. Amanda mana abantu they were doing their own businesses until the government started introducing goons. And I say this with confidence because it is in the interest of government to stop this demonstration. Omuntu ora benefit kuruhusu kutenenia maandamano ya serikali. That is why I'm very confident even those goons are sponsored by elements while in government. Yes. Who is to benefit? Moralia. It is the government. Yes.
It could be even opposition.
To stop a maandamano?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't. Can't be.
Yeah. So government ndio the person of interest.
Yes, they are the people who stand to benefit.
What if na banya abantu bane mbali bakora iga errekana it is from government but it is not government itself.
But umuntu tokuri mutanga ni kabisa ko benefit ya so gotenenia maandamana iga is the government.
Okay.
Yes.
Bia mono. So mbia aso bwenda bwa bwerete obwenda bumuntu onde na buchakirete so that amandamana atarrekana ju other people are crying. Dongo ikatoliga bo in a short while. Ento twale ukodiranga one from this yogotenenia abantu so parliament. What next bono for media? What next? Inki kwena talk from the media side.
They should seek judicial intervention.
Okay.
Immediately. Kina kienga toketa kire ko baro. But na ndo moralia mja kwa police wali elio. I can also na bonko ira chinga kiji na ndeko otavyo mu liheli bwetaya about inga nende ya igore ya media. Even as we talk about limitations of the right to freedom and expression. Ntobwate lichiko. Likubwate na bona after katiba. Ntobwate nga totoko rokanga the Media Council Act. Number 46 of 2013. A unique council erosiri erinero enga ipoa is independent. Egasi yaje ne gente ketanga no ensure nga media ya regulated
media,
licensing ya media. And that this media is not controlled by the state, by the government. And amangana buna aliando nsipiako chikoba akorora kana buna ya igabona akata tikotanga the freedom ye media. A media council has a responsibility to maintain standards, the standards of independence. The standards of ensuring that the state control a media correct operate. Even as parliament decided go media there so parliament one of those institutions bono mune karaba skali bago sitoko genda saipo ekarabono media yago sei usamangana freedom of media ya very cartel asitoko genda media council those are the that is the institution responsible aso go deal na mangana ya elinde ensure ngaki media freedom ya kolrek ya very realized na ndo nyolenga media council ne bwata even an obligation under that act kero mwaka go peka an audit report kotebanga ki status ya media freedom in the country nga kiega ndrete go ikere gabna to correct to tebe so that is one body another challenge na ande dura tebe igoro ya media taraji kurwa samangana media is that omanye the most media stations for example TV stations radios and the media at large is to a larger percentage owned by private people, private entities, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Omanya the way the media was takere kopa kangabono media teliko toka ke bwata mangana yokoba owned by private. Na jokoli bono media bono for example state owned media bono bona KBC nechi media chile owned by
by government
Akarugo compare bono na these private owned media stations. There is a lot of competition. Some of the things people limit media freedom are not even attacks from outside.
Yes.
There are even some of them from within because there is competition and they need to make profit. The other narrative on the other side, the media is being used by these private individuals because they own the private medias to drive a certain narrative against the government. So independence of the media is not something only from the fact that Korusiko attacked. Even media itself has a responsibility to ensure that cover this protest in a fair and unbiased manner.
Yes. All right. Bia mana sana wakili aso tubekira burungi rero tukulirio bwene bwa baliki nga naralia ya bagwenerete gokora na naralia batabwenerete gokora na inde ngamba bwato bweno buki katiba constitution ya 2010 nero to bwene guchas nyumba chuburalia guchasa baliki nana kibagwenete gokora igasi yabo na wakili omonto rero ndo kolina information kwendo sino bisigete omuntu angapi gokwana where are you supposed to begin from koma ethenga is the right person or konga this information
bia mana muralia selibolio bona abugo achira article 35 of the constitution on access to information omuntu akaro gwachira se obishuta that information akolinire you must now ask yourself ngakinaga ndaro onye kwenda kumovolve for example as a media person abakonya kwenda kumovolve verbally but bone gento takere okora onye for example a person needs some information from a state government or from an individual to exercise their rights no kolikali huko nkarokwa likireli huko gochiaronga ki I want this and this information for this reason and this reason unabona karokwa roje bwango iga lili before the former cabinet secretary of sports kanyatara chikotigwemere kanyolike ruli huko na some few individuals au mutenga ki to a list y'abantu bakogenda Paris to tebikiro mondo okogenda Paris kiago chikokora twakoira matuko sabato this information because it is important for the public interest. One of those 7 days karochi ayaliti karokwa na olenga toiri and you served that person one no bwate right to move to court.
Okay.
Or seek judicial intervention, karwa seek judicial intervention, elinde court here a declaration that you have to be given that information, elinde exercise your right. Eliare go chako information eliare go chako konyo exercise that right what go exercise. So there is need go to a record. Ngana je de go sabe obisi go sene ya DC. Nka sabe bintu go tebire go sene obisi e omwemsie nka mo boli bintu bone but to atemere go go this information. This is a trail of events che ikere bakabono to ikere court. Bone court yiga yabere tambo kero kyo mwali opi to compel.
It's the last option.
This person or this state agency elinde ko this information.
All right.
Yes.
Ntwaro chokora se amangana ye byombe byabaliki even the gazette ya Daily Nation yatabanga stop the madness. It is time for a reset. Abantu ba kusuguma because these abductions, this mistreatment igo ya rule from the demonstrations chigenderete anti-government protest. So it's like hii kuonyesha media inaonyesha wamekuwa target so that babeke threats mnechukua so that we retreat back. But rende media conduct and ethics it doesn't tell us nga totige ko teba the right thing chibiribi wenete kokorwa. So yabere nga asinge nchutoka bakali komoleka bono bachakire koba the target. Bono batene batanga tige binte biga ira neli bintu abantu batagete face the real issues wachana na watu wa media.
Pia mono moralia omanyete the media in Kenya. Again tongere tokoro kasi ke songo nga resilience.
Yes.
Yani nga embura ne tu yamagena. Ne babone koba the media still survived.
Yes.
Bakabuna boikare to ikiri. Igono eba gendete kokore. That is why the media is strongly saying aki tiga mangana yu. Ndori ko chikotia ko cover these things. I believe nge media ya ito ya Kenya bunere iga nere resilient enough. Oma yatonya ya survive the era ya Moi. Oma there were days when umuntu ali go chokwane gento na nese media. AG Attorney General and court onyore judgment against a certain media into a Quran into millions. Punitive judgments chugo tanga nga to aro go kwa. But this secret tuna toko gamba iga. Akongu sana gutanga the media from speaking truth to power. Yes.
Okay. Pia mona sana wakili ase ugotumanyanga media n'abantu bobulito.
Ba bolemereria resilience bolemereria.
Yes. Abantu bolemereria they've really survived but now ekere getting out of hand. Don't we have the right to go on the streets and say enough is enough now you stop this?
Article 37 every person. Every person.
All right.
Including journalists.
Because we can't allow like that. We can into tosikwe ko media we kai uli bagalia ekoliga sibne bwana to lende ngonya waratole abande mbaro of course bagutumekwa. We can't rule out ngambayo batali gutumeka. There's some of them bagutumekwa so that to bring conflict and confusion. They are there. Don't you agree?
There are few elements.
Yes, few elements
within the media. Fratani chitora tabenga if we look back to 2007, before even we had the Media Council Act here 2013, the Media Act. Cap 411B of 2007.
Yes.
Karam chisegi chiabete chiabocholi wa 2007. Ntu aligerating aki there are some media houses that really propagated amangana yesi.
Yes, yes.
Na even no ena karaba ntu bachi kubwa to bagenda ga ali Hague, we know that one of those people bachi they ga is a media personality obwate to akoraki akairwa the Hague. Igonto manye egento ngelinga ki even as the media na kieta kerenga sometimes even as the media council got about regulation there is need for self regulation.
Yes.
Elinde no ena bali kia mangana mayena inu na reporters bamanyanga ki asena ali kuikabone limiting aki ndo baise ku extend this freedom of media kuikera to kenga bona yabaire propaganda to war and incitement to violence.
Yeah.
Igo abantu mbaroro we can't say it is entirely free. Ekyara report nero kolire na watenga ki report wataka kolenga linga ki report yenga kire. So there is need for self regulation even amidst the media industry bara banyanga ki media nyene what are we airing editors what is coming out of our publications elinde chikoro kinga ki it is an issue yoko give information. And information in and I'm still saying is not just to the public. The media also gives information to the government and to the relevant authorities. Grievances, need more go publicize those grievances. The government.
Yes.
So mogo that role yogo media go that role yogo collect information from those who are aggrieved to the government. The government that is incitement to violence. They are demanding accountability. For example, the agencies Ntotake te bande bya soka bwangu ntotake te passport bona boni wa apply passport ye na buko kanyu mwako yo ntotake te passport ya soka bwangu ntotake te bintu bya correct ya because with accountability ntotake te corruption earnings those are things a government yetake reviewing again positively react to this thing positively, take these concerns seriously and give actions choko ensure ngaki ngo address all those things. Tari reactions chiko bekwa asoko taka kutuliza the okoge chukulia bantu abwata mato mondo nakobeke mikakati yoko ngaki ngokwane ngane elinde bona macha atereme and togenda rebona tu kwali.
Yes, thank you so much. Mwanchi mune twale ukwanira iguru yobo ene bwa media ekiagera the recent past twaratinga babeire targeted so much mpaka recent events chiakoreka detega is from the veteran journalist Nerma Kamasharia Gaido amono moswati korwase company yende yonyarte kobaga koraswa sensemeli ya Nakuru ne arotwarangere tu wakili from the perspective yeli chikonga kirigoteba to it's very clear. We have all the rights unabaliki to access the information konyora that information unega neire totally cover intimidated totally cover tokoba carried away in some other way akini totenere ekemaene na raitogenda tugukwana bono mambiga Etaya TV barabagusi kolende ndo chingatindi nchebweka ndo che Manuel Mwaga agotabakorwa getenga village Rioma Marani awata pamoja na my lovely parents Ani Nyaboke and Peter Mwaga nobody live batuligerete. Asante sana baba Diana Gisoi, seeing you are watching with us, thank you so much. Andrew Matunda nera no alikole Nyamira town agotabanga akondani kabisa. Cedric Arati nera agotaba no alime kabisa. Deno Mogaka Koroboruma Kiumbu anasema they are watching. Peaceful Jed Steven Korwa Ruben Estate Nairobi niko locked na mjadala iko safi, following it keenly. Thank you so much Peaceful Gent. Rehema Ogega nera oteba nali tuned in. Christopher Tandi Korwa Borangi Kenyambi watching with my wife Lydia. The conversation is good. Baro about likirna baro gwetera sensemo ya SMS number elina abatebetie ere asensemo yesimigabo nara oteba good morning team kubwa. Watebire Sara and wakili nikusalimie sana agotabanga wakili after the dissolvement of the cabinet, how many days does it take before choosing another, and what are the criteria? Because we have 47 counties, they are supposed to be 15 of them. Watching live from Oyagotabanga bono mnatuwagonyora notogenda tukwa nayo. After the dissolvement yaba cabinet, how many days utakiro take before another new cabinet is chosen? And oyakuvulia mangana regional balance. We have 47 counties. And there's supposed to be 15 of them. Okay. And are there supposed to be 15 of them? And everybody akubuli. Na ende na kiawe chiko balance. We have 47 counties. Kero mtonade the cabinet secretary.
Mbia mana siliboli lio kurua so motagareli na ando moligeli abwe ta TV. After dissolution of cabinet, but the act in itself you go dissolve parliament and cabinet. Yeah. Ni gere again to getali kere unforeseen as a katiba na enda bone karo keruete ngabone ya very dissolved. It is now the mandate. The president bole kare very elected. Ne re kara very elected. Umanya go chochora cabinet. So once I dissolve parliament, it's now upon him go tebanga ki how ngo jikobeka another cabinet in place. Komokonya elinaga endelea koraki ko run the government. But boni kama natoko gambaiga president yaru the gazette the Kenya Gazette Gazette the reorganization of government. Enjire how reorganize the government natoko gambaiga according to the Gazette notice na rolire no ani nunko legi mwani rolire egentege tanga nini ga atebetenga bono bantu bali bali kanya bali cabinet officially they have been dismissed. The decision to Yokobeka Attorney General has been vacated. Yobona Attorney General tali office. Bono it is official. Other than that declaration, ya collected chekara everything about But now through the Kenya Gazette, recently the position you vacate the decision Yokobeka Attorney General office. Now you got this cabinet secretaries Kanya Bararo officially bona ba colleague. Mbayaro. But that thing up. Akagenda father na kotebanga bono this prime cabinet secretary Musalia Mudavadi will be now enacting CS in all those ministries chira serikali pending engakie karago chakobeke cabinet ya in place. So there are no strict timelines but tega ndokeka nilikolile linga ki necessity ikantu nega ndata kogenda mutu so it should be and reasonable and within reasonable time ngaki abeke cabinet in place again and nominate again they were vetted in parliament elinde na tumanya correct tumanya another cabinet on the issue ya balance regional balance katiba yako tebanga the number of cabinet secretaries the president can appoint not less than 14 and not more than 22. So katiba yako tebaigo among those people bali ga bwese cabinet yekobeka a cabinet is a small number of people ba represent bago konye president we ensure ngaki oikira ndi mandate ya under the various ministries. So it cannot be argued ngaki ngantu takabona kere county enyore muwaziri. There are other representations chiga and rather in other places. For example, one to the senators from all those counties wale in the Senate bako represent the interest of the counties. To the women reps and also there is an issue Kenya ga igato goja twateba kurukunga over representation. You must balance. These different arms, these different positions, in government, senator, women rep, represent different interests. So it cannot be argued about you county to cabinet secretary. We are having cabinet secretaries as per the ministries in order for the government to execute a mandate ya promise. So even in that small number, you are 22. The issue is among these 22, of a representation of a certain region. County, for example. For example, 22, so those are the balances in the sense that from certain counties, more representation in the cabinet than others. That will amount to discrimination. So it's an issue of balancing. And not balance or avoid over representation and also to comply with the 22 highest number or 14 as the least number.
Then we don't need them all of them 22 with the economy now so it means waziri na 15 you are good to go.
Actually, the president I support him that we should live within our means. We are going to live within our means. Why should we have the maximum? On your Toriko strain economically. Let us reduce them. There are some other ministries combined. Even as we talk about these ministries, PSS. even those things chikoba combined, those PSS will be there. Omanyenga the role of a cabinet secretary is to articulate policy. But you execute ye mangana yako articulated in cabinet. PSS now ba actualize. Amangana yako ambwe cabinet. So omonto na baba 15. They can ndobugata collective responsibility as a cabinet. About 15. Bako bare CSS. Babruka ne president, babruka na attorney general, na other people who sit in the cabinet. They come up with a policy. A policy no mwelekeo ngaki nginkoruga iga nko adangi kebosongo ntire ko chikeroka ngenda masimba god yani road map. Once cabinet ya rule that road map in terms of policy, then the permanent secretaries in those various ministries, one jira have even crashed down chibe kwamo chibe departments in certain ministries. The PSS now we execute mandate.
Okay.
Among the PSS, how balance in terms of representation.
Yeah.
This time PS could say that. No, we didn't have, though we were being promised by some politicians, but we don't have. So those balances should even come to the point here. PSS. So the number 15, even 14, is sufficient. Go live by the talk here, President. Yes. To live within our means. Yes.
Then I'm saying, Rende, the CSS doesn't have so much work to do. What are the reason the President could dissolve Rende? Does it mean now como misleading or something? Rende Babuata Machukum is the PSS
policy. Whatever PSS is what has been articulated as a cabinet.
Okay.
Cabinet nero the organ. Okay. Run the country. Nere koruo mwelekeo ngaitoko correct toko genda in terms of economics ngaitoko genda guchi in terms of security ngaitoko guchi in terms of food safety ngaitoko genda guchi in terms of ngakitoko relate with other international actors international community. What is our policy ine regasi ya cabinet. Ekaro cabinet ekaro tutabuga achie cabinet the PSS will have nothing to execute. So nigga to work hand in hand. There is collective responsibility. So we don't need the CSS. Na PSS. PSS inkibago to execute. There must be have been a policy. Ya etigu in cabinet. Ekuru mwelekeo ngitoko chokaraki. Okora. Elinde karo plan ya achir. Bona yamanya kogenda se PSS mama yatinga ki. We are going to execute this, but the guidance is the decisions. Chikuru as a cabinet. Dissolving
cabinet is as good atawe kujitoa kazi. Na president ya butetaba waziri na wenga ngana ne butete. So who is failing who? Was the CSS failing the president or was the president failing himself?
Moses Kuria, one of the former CSS.
Yes.
That was a dysfunction of cabinet. Team. You must know a team we yengo jor. That's the leader. Rojbono Ruto is the leader. Ngojora ringe team. Kara very elected into office. He had a chance. You could nominate a team which komoko. Agachore team of loyals and the friends, but we are support. So the idea was saying to criteria qualification in that setup ya cabinet yetu abwate criteria yeko rokunga competence kabe kumaega ubo sani bugatangana support ku angeta during the campaign correct tangana mutu abagachaka kwebulinga ki what contribution did you make aso wenshwanga tu asoire serikali but imbaye boletinga ki omonto yo competence ya enere as a ministry. The idea of all cabinet secretaries as a katiba. Ekero karema ete ministers ye baringe ku parliament. Aba bunge na bale ko ministers. As a previous constitution to what. All the parliament lakini na kwa minister. There was no good separation of powers. Bagate babono cabinet secretaries should not come from parliament but should be technocrats. Abantu babuga to bumanyi. Ekero ko mbeka roads. I am an engineer. Nimanya tenga ki ngakie pare korosi. Nimanya tenga what are the nitty-gritties ebintu bibika na iribire ime nga engineering yechi para na ko make sure nga e para chire safe nchirechi. Nimanya bone kero ko nyoro kwa bekiro muntu utamanyeti and that person is the person utakire korosi policy in cabinet, then it means this organ yekuru cabinet ekutakiri goto mwelekeo teliko chikoto mwelekeo bene asense mwechipa kwarali no chiko ikirabona the ministry PSS bali bachiko execute mwelekeo tuliko choremu ole muya. One of the debates challenge in parliament ekero these cabinet secretaries bachieteka balenge wetikwa John Mbadi atebetaiga ntubwata machibu abiri lichibu litangani tokana abantu abayiga ikyara mbabwate questionable character abantu abayiga mbabwate bina bile pending in court about corruption mbabwata mangana au lichibu litangani parliament yabwate is to reject that cabinet as nominated by the president akamana koteba then other option babwate is to saying aki omonto yoromurai enere cabinet ye itakeire mbora na roto promising ko tokorari gaji moe abantu bae buna gore buna chora. So this issue ya parliament ko dysfunctional ko se ko failure yonde ego chakera back at the point when the president decided to nominate these people. So the president failed the country in the first place. Ekara ko nominate these people ekiagra qualifications yabo nchirigereri ebintu bya ligere tukune bingao bitali ko translate ko chiese ga asieri mwana nchata kedo kare ko chiko ko kolero. So if a president failed us bone karo kwa chori an incompetent cabinet, what do you expect? What advice will come out of? Akona igen to ba ko in computer language timanya timanga na itimono ba ko teba nga garbage in garbage out. Again to get wabe kaime nanda na kiyo koraki nego so asa mangana computer monto aiti na bara taito ko mane ko se Joshua na mangana you are garbage in garbage out. So whatever the president allow it take a so cabinet he cannot now come and say in a parliament in a cabinet CSS ba mo failed ngamba mo advise it. He made a wrong choice in the first place. But whatever came out of it is the obvious. That incompetence was bound to come out of that cabinet. There was a time the president was saying, abande ba ine karonko pa kwanira. Nkonyoranga se ministry ejimole imanyeta mangana mangi ko baeta. And in principle and under the constitution, the cabinet secretary now takiri ku advise the president igoroye ministry nkiara mu advise onya tama eti even more than that the person who is supposed to be advised. So that argument that the president can dissolve cabinet igo na erabona igo akire isiko ndada benga ke is an issue of reorganizing government. Bono to tumoligereti ya maiso na se president here ngabone karago jigo konchora. Will he get another set of garbage na ndabe ke garbage in na ndo chikonyora the same problem go say bono the criteria yoko chora nto chikolire in terms of competence, understanding and expertise as various areas chikani vya city ministry change.
All right. Pia mwana wakili lakini nende onyo bega taba waziri Bonsisko why aligotigali Musalia Mudavadi yabeire debate abantu babadana pia yeye angeenda nyumbani naende ochiro moment rebono matabiri atakuwa na oversee every ministry again the prime cabinet secretary nafasi hiyo aitambuliwe katika katiba. So abantu nkubuli bali mbante tinga wakili tigacha mate why ali gotigali Musalia Mudavadi magega but hiyo utatujibu ekarotu achira somotimokomoke gere Joshua nerara korabuna analitekokora aratwirima dukani kabiri gatatoiga tokoira na wakili atanzia hapo na nditurigererie nga bono korubekano ko wajenzi it is very clear bono mangana peaceful demonstration taiyo what next because twaralira mangana yebintu kusaliwe biashara bya bantu bikolengwa ngebine bya wakili ngori tom watu wanakuja wana storm. So where are we headed to? Are we on the crossroads? Are we on the right direction? What is it for Kenya? Mwanchumulile na rayo kuruta TV barabagusi to sukare nkuira natoli.
Etaya TV Oborabu Wagusi. supermarket ya Gadimart nigo yeruete kurenta obokoreri angena sore gwetera chinsagia gusichi branch ao unabono iliri meyumo chubusongo kebirigo Ugembo Rongo Rwaka imea Nairobi Rongai Kiambu na Bwangwiga Kisii Haipa nigo bwate ebintu bakonya samagoli amoguko unabono ebintu bya nyumba chisani ebikombe chindo chibesin ebilogo bya plastic emeito na marangete nebintu byonsi bya nyumba ase sukuru mbabwate ebitabu chikalamu na stationery chionsi ebikoroto bya bata socks amonebinde ase ndagira mbabwate chisize ni type au chomo chere amabuta yo karanga esukali amasiyo kuruga nalya ya mandasi chijuice nichi yogurt amunini gati emianso ijubakwe rose lyabanyene nande kwahenyora kiremuliro amunebinde ebinge boigo sanitary towels tissues chisabuni type au electronics vuna TV chigufa fridge nebinto binde binge mbiraororo batarere yasisagi chichabo imeyumo chobo songo Ugembo kebirigo amona Rongo Rwaka imea Nairobi Kiambu elinde onyare kwenyorera ebinto asamagoli amuguko Gadmart Supermarket.
Get more for less.
Je, wataka mtoto wako kupata elimu ya hali ya juu na iliyoafikiana na kanuni za kimasomo za serikali? Hurricane Academy ni shule ya kibinafsi na ya kisasa ambayo inatoa masomo mbalimbali katika mtaala wa CBC ikiwemo ile ya daycare, ECD, primary na junior secondary. Shule hii ina mazingira mazuri, walimu waliohitimu kwa viwango vikubwa, madarasa ya kisasa, vitabu na vifaa vingine vya kusoma, magari ya kutosha kuwabeba wanafunzi kutoka nyumbani na kuwarudisha kuelekea sehemu mbalimbali. Wana programu ya vyakula, yani feeding program, na mabweni ya kisasa ya kutosha kwa wanafunzi wote. Katika upande wa junior secondary, wana maabara ya kisasa ya kisayansi na kompyuta, maktaba waliofikiana na kanuni za serikali. Pia wana shughuli za kukuza talanta za wanafunzi katika michezo, muziki na lugha ya ishara. Shule hii inapatikana katika eneo la Riatwenya, kilomita 3 kutoka mji wa Kisii, katika barabara kuu ya Kisii kuelekea Marane. Usajili wa wanafunzi ambao wangependa kujiunga bado unaendelea. Unaweza kuwapata kupitia nambari yao ya simu 0755331318 0755331318. Harakisha unyakue nafasi ya mtoto. Hurricane Academy, the future is here. Ikeye ase aya naiteire
ekeracha akarari kirigo igoro ngabwata ngamuteiwa nararaga abungene nkurige chikoni kinkoya na wocha nanyate chikurate chirenkaga iga abantu chiroche mate nabanyorie chianga chiakena kinkwana nkanyone cy'umwana one echiabe tukiria chimapiri
kera nkominyoka nkanyora abandi bara tukabwatirwa ikaiga tokatya guchianga ngechia manyinga ngayo no abutoreiria chinde chikari chimogondeni
bakabwata rinde bakarikanse bakanyora rinde bintu bibira manyinga mwayabu okata nichimbe bari gwita nichanga chai chibota manyinga chinyimbu chibota manyinga nyore ibota manyinga mwana tayo nande bono nare konyora no nyine riuga abo asatu gutete ga kinji chentinde kengebe ngaki yeni ga na nyori riuga eri na tindiki bono bosapi nande bosapi bosaigo mete muntu turi konyara to konyara kole mota be gitia samara
vuna agwatika utko na mugaso chinsemero ngebere na inye nigotokwenekia akwikire asoboikerano korwa sabasake nabariki bachire ngoma
bunge ya Machoge Chache
Tutu Chache North
bunge ya Borabu ime kaunti ya Nyamira
bunge ya Kitutu Chache South kaunti ya Kisii
bunge ya Machoge Borabu
South Mugirango
Hadi Broadcasting House Etaya House Kisii Kisumu Road Nyamataro kwako studio
asamangana magia ije Etaya TV Borabu Waguse
Etaya TV Borabu Waguse
ne nobwate ebyasara gusemega uraganie tukubikirira itangazo ebene sukuru eduka inyagitari inyangi gose amatanga bono nabugutwakira esimi ase namba inoti sana ibere isato isano isato 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 inoti inoti kumanya mange mono nabuigo nabugututarira asensemo ya Nyamataro Etaya House mwese twabariganirie
Etaya TV Borabu Waguse
pia mbona naende mwanchwa bweta TV omorobele bweta ya breakfast show orobele tawo koleta kera lituko Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa aiga lituko lya Alhamisi tokulega igoro yengana yeli chiko igoro yoboene woko access information na media freedom twararrenga amangana talibu na botambe kiagera they are targeted victims bono egaro wakilali konya gotokonya koigwa korwa sense moye katiba nki katiba egoteba igoro yobosibole bwabaliki bamangana naende ayo agenderete na araiboire ubwatekana no ko robekano ko genderete na ukoireire bono twarrenga abaliki bachakire kunereriwa ayonsi ntogenderete go okwanera igobona nyiko batari bolio ko bwate feedback nyiko bate comment abo tutumera wetera SMS number 0735333000 was a Facebook page no to live Etaya TV na sensema ya YouTube no to Ontita TV nche abo konya sara Ontita fan page Facebook yane abo igo Brighton Makol no ekari kandali na agenda tukubwati mu rubrika pesa ya bongoto Thomas no ara sensema ye kamera kwa nike na chipicha mbu ya chigocha bunegwenereta na Joshua uta korwa sensema yende ye kamera wakili turene korwa soma timoko na kuboliri boligete
igoro ya the cabinet secretaries.
Yes. Musalia Mudavadi, a position ya kwanza. Is it legit? Prime Secretary, Cabinet Secretary.
Again, don't talk about goodwill. That is first indication that the president had no goodwill.
Yes.
Ekarako make that decision yoko sell cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
Ekiagera onye the agencies are claiming and actually protesting about accountability and no kubwati no implement katiba. Again, they tanga no ruhusi and constitution offices. Ekiagera that office of the prime cabinet secretary is not contemplated as lichikolide lion science ya Kenya. Abuno ale ko ruhusi tanga ni eliende totuare atorenga ki confidence ngaki in this action. Nga this action is not a cosmetic action. It intended to go to Liza, so you got that position, your prime cabinet secretary. Still, there is a question mark and a sign of no goodwill.
Yes. All right. Manchumaligelia na rayo wakili tiga tusuke gocha msake asibono kurubikana wa Gen Z. It's almost a month now kurubikana gochaka ne karo wachagete level amandamana chagete so kurubikana is very different na bona yiki kigende tokolekana litukolia Jumaine you saw what happened in Kitengela nkwaro chibuna bantu forcefully bagotagora ebyasara byabantu forcefully buna bakoruta abanyanyimba magena buna bakoruta abantu noyemba libagwita magena so we were worried if this continues then this country is turning into anarchy because it is not protesting peacefully as usual.
Robert Greene, 48 laws of power. One of those laws of power, you must know when to stop in your victory. Very victorious. I've become victorious, and this is where I stop.
Yeah.
Again, the president pushed the Kenyans to the wall. Kabasuma sana. Whether lies, whether unfulfilled promises, whether obokurumiboga ndata serikali, unaccountability against serikali, bad governance, administration yetali ndonge. Amangana yu akabanga na arasumiro mo Kenya to the wall. Ebango asebangende. Ogo defy court orders as several other court orders changu. Parliament ekaba an agent ye president rather than an agent of the people. A voice of the president rather than an agent voice ya wananchi. So that is what happened in the first place. In the last 2 years when serikali ya soete. Serikali ya sumo mo Kenya baka second. Bono the Gen Zs came up. Mandamano na betega mapema igoro ya cost of living akanyeka tukatwara na article report but bado changes in Chiganda. The government continued to push abananchi go chase wall. And then we had the blessing who came and turned the tables and said enough is enough. They started pushing the government. The government has now been pushed to the wall. The government has been pushed day and again in a span of 3 weeks. Around June the government I'm afraid, and this is my opinion, that we are doing the same thing. One of the Gen Zs are nearly doing the same thing the government was doing. We must learn what are the things to already. What are the gains that we have made from the protest this far? So that we realize the gains to manya the victories to achieve, to manya when to stop, and to allow the government also some room to address the grievances. That does not mean it means we have to re-strategize. The Gen Zs need to re-strategize. One problem is that issue leaderless, but it's not a problem entirely, which is good. It is again to talk about Gen Zs, is to have a tactical retreat. Give the president some time. Rarely do I say a president here good time.
Yes.
But when I'm looking at a scenario whereby the Gen Zs are doing the same thing the government was doing to us, pushing us to the wall. If the government is pushed to the wall, we might now find ourselves in a position whereby outside the constitution.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that it is about time the Gen Zs, but our focus let it be to representatives to allow the president first of all to reconstitute cabinet and to think about even they will be very raised and to actualize them.
Yeah.
Troji. Eliende ta chata benga ki monget chance. Troji. Already we have pushed him to the wall. That one is a fact.
It's a
fact. And he has realized that the people, we the people, can do anything. But we the people also need to get to a point where what should be done now is to deal our representatives, our bunge. From grassroots. Are they executing the mandate to talk about accountability ever spread all over. All over the place, accountability should be called for. But consistently now saying I will be calling demonstrations. I think ngocha we create a point whereby again to gia chagete puya for the sake ambali ko mtoliko chikotigira victory is to manyanga ye ikeire ke oncho ke kabegente ke ikebe. Let us accept the gains to anyolri. Count your blessings.
Yes.
Those things to account your blessings is one that we had a generation. This is wrong.
Yeah.
But even as we are doing that, the government, the message so that the government they are corner. Yeah. Extra constitutional means go suppress amandamano go suppress abantu bali bagukwana against the government. Now these demonstrations are not against the government. These are demonstrations for good governance. What we are crying for is good governance. Good governance. So you go in terms of the demonstrations.
Yes.
It is high time before Chichiko turn out to something else, because that is the direction. The same government even have to push it.
Okay.
To make a tactical retreat to run here some time.
Okay.
They are doing the same thing, then we will have basis again to come up and say, we gave you room to do this.
This
you promised
this.
Implemented. And actually, a good strategy, for instance, for example, I would advise the Gen Zs. A good strategy will be, for instance, tigana maandamano. Ganya nomination list ya cabinet secretaries Chaka go identify those people who have been nominated, scrutinize them, so that we have good cabinet secretaries bago chiko correct bako anga bago taka ko insist ko pass yabantu call another demo.
All right.
That will make sense. That ngaki uma to demonstrate about the finance bill. Boni it has gone to beyond the finance bill. We are talking about accountability. Let us give it a pause.
Okay.
To chake ko check those nominees ago chako toa bago chaka na ndiko to burukan na go to letter the same go recycle the same problems. Then we can go back and say reject so and so. Appointed in the cabinet.
Right.
There are, in this country, there are a number of causes to champion, but to champion a blanket cause, a specific agenda in a counterproductive.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. By the way, to me, you're against the demonstrations because you go to make good governance out of it. But rende asitobuato machadose simbate problem nagani we talk about it. Is this destruction of properties? Because asta hiyo katiba unako ngeli botambe ego tebanga maandamano inafaa kwenda that route. Ngwaroche even here in Kisii, they even attacked some of the Chichiops Chiabara Ibande. They are storming there, they're throwing stones over there. So, when is the power of the people limited? Because chapter 1, the power belongs to the people. But when is this powers limited to some extent? Because to other people they're saying about Gen Z, they're using more power, they're using more force, more into destructions, and who is going to compensate for the lost properties?
Power the people never limited.
Yeah.
The people are supreme, and the power of the people can only be limited to the extent of this constitution. If the people so decide, they no longer want anything again to carry kebese katibeje. The katibeje igane bwate mechanisms chogo change katiba. But so koirana libo linga ki the people are only limited to the extent ye katiba. which also guarantees them power to change some of the things. Chire sekati. We have already about excess force, and manage bago salie bintu. It is a question of abantu bago to salie bintu mbarabi. Umayitobone problem nelinga ki.
Who are these people?
We are having people, and historically, we are having people. Even peaceful.
Yes.
Sababu was excuse yogo tumia chinguru. Ekiaberenge bintu byasaleki.
Yes.
Igomba manyetenga ekere bintu byasaleki. Nalie force erabe applied. That is when you can blame the protesters. Entire ya moyo gotaka gotanga amandamano tagenda no tebenge bintu byasaleki. But liboli totanya konyora. Lichibu anje nkumeti bakaboni. And but na ande to korra mangana ande bakatwa kumilinga ki ngoko bleta abantu bagokora
the destructions because Janzimba taborongenga into we are not going to touch.
Ekarnali gede bono Kakamega. Gun simbaje babugate chinungu. Bagaje street bagachaka ko cause chaos. The Janzis bakaba apprehend. Bakanya mangana yutakaleti takali iliko gande
yes.
Koleta these goons bata go destroy. Of course we can also not rule out opportunists. The criminals kuna boni any place crime nega right. Abantu bali bona bakora in that state ba take opportunity yoko commit crimes when we go tagora na gusalie bintu. That is why it's problematic. In the first place, they cooperate with the police. Not that the police should give us permission. The acting inspector general, they limit that right. They don't give us permission. They don't give the people the permission to demonstrate on that. But there should be a coordination between the police and the demonstrators to ensure that keep properties in demonstrators, and in instances now, there are instances to deal with goons.
Yeah. Right. Biamono wakili. Ntoroche bunakorobegana ko gendrete. Dr. Ruto ernagendrete is official duties. Ntua roche mba wateranete na is it New Zealand batete kobe kubwa matobya ati chinse chibere kimagenderero ani ntoroche kagenderete gukori gasi ya eburunge but Kenya still they are on the streets. What does this show? Because yeye anaendelea na kazi as much as tunasema Ruto must go, wanasema Ruto must go as much as whatever you must do this and this. Still asikwende yaye anaendelea na kazi kama rais.
Mbora taka nilikutika kazi, mbora na official. He should continue with his work.
Okay.
Him proceeding with his work does not saying about no people should also not exercise their right to complain. Yes, they can work hand in hand. Abantu na bako go koleka na go bagente complain. They are reminding you about nkiota kirokole okole. But again kinata ebranga ki there is a need to re-strategize.
Okay.
Take a tactical retreat and think about other causes chira have fought as against the government.
All right.
Yes.
Hello, Deputy President aliahidi watalipa clan elders kwa sababu they are doing a lot of work. Yo tarali kaditele ina tanga mbata temba kane aba tuleti balibe kwerende akoranga mbara kanu mpaka bono nabata koboli.
Those are that adds to the number of promises we are about to see from the government.
All right. Divina Maragura South Mugranga, my favorite wakili is there. He really looks good and is oozing out wisdom. Kenya, we are on the crossroads. Wacha tuombe Mungu. Asante sana Divina Maragura South Mugranga. Nara yukuru kwa Nyabonyi, korwa Mugonga. Awateba my sister Sarah na wakili. Good morning, good morning. Awateba nice show, informative. Salimia sana sana wakili na Mungu aendelee kumbariki. Asante mbali bako kwa kerumurubulio. Ndoche Daniel Mokoro na erankoro jisama chio gembo. Awate mwana mtosara ninakuona sana. Salimia wakili. Asante kwa hicho kipindi. Biamono enda tumachi ujumbe chao chiri obwate nyakobata liboli you can ask anye kobwate okomenta na bokomenta wetera sensemeli ya Facebook na otole live na boiga sensemo ya SMS na bokutulikira egere togenderere butambi. So wakili, right now ono monto nkubuli alingi right now, where are we as Kenya? Kili montara achani utamanyeti what is really happening. Are we headed to the right direction? Bono igabunere go say we are maintaining, we are on the wrong direction. Igotora matabeka ni ntura manya, where are we as Kenya?
Etole at a crossroads. Uno motagali ito mata edri. We are at a crossroads. Ekiagera ntoligereting there is one side that is urging the government to do this. The government na rongo nyakuligiri interventions chaenga kiagokora elinde ikiranie amagani yabana inchi. But then we are at a position, a decisive position. Era tokonye togende boshubuya depending on the decisions we make at this moment. Na era determining akinga kimambia koba. We are sebobe. But we are at a crossroads, and being at a crossroads demands wisdom. Na ende again tokero tolerance. Elinde to understanding at the end of the day Kenya, we need to keep Kenya Kenya going. Even if we are keeping Kenya going, we are saying accountability around the main thing we can that new Kenya new Kenya but in the pursuit kokonyo that new Kenya about accountability about effectiveness as a service delivery kuru serikali, we should also be cautious not to make a decision we lose the country in itself entirely. Elinde tujikotokanga ki asaya tualenga at crossroads, we have made decisions chidali goto konya to achieve that new Kenya that we are looking at. Yes. All right. Mbia mona sana. Wakasululu Garissa agoteba good morning. Cedric Arati agoteba wakili is very articulate. Tuned in from Chiduka Etaya. Agoteba say hi to him. Cedric amekusalimia sana, tumekusalimia pia sisi yandera kwa ime yomurubulio kigima. Wakili Gen Z walisema sasa wakimalizana na juu wanaanza kurudi chini. And I'm foreseeing wakirudi chini wataanza kuingia mpaka kila pahali. Walisema wataingililia office of the governors, watakuja. Yani kerumura mpaka to the MCS, because all we need, not whatever, it's accountability. How is it going to be? How is your take? Because embaro bagokora and embaro bago deliver, but one in the kama kire chambura, they don't care what you've done, they don't care nki what you gokora. What they want to see is accountability. Pesa yetu tuambie oro chanda baba tebana na waziri abachi bagwena to gocha bara eresa ngaichi besa. Yeah. My take is that aba antotoko kwa Kenya. Nobody should sit in a public office comfortable. At the end of the day, we are entitled to information. Our affairs are being run. So the proposal that this should be devolved to the counties and even to the MCAs, to the members of parliament, is a welcome proposal. Conducted systematically. The problem is not asking for accountability. A response about accountability. Sometimes cause problems. If somebody holds information and this information has been laid bare before them, that this is what is happening, this is what is happening, it solves the problem. But those people be accountable, correspond with with arrogance, that is when it becomes a problem. So the proposal to devolve these demos and take them to all other places of public offices is a welcome proposal. And the people in office, they should know it is something care for the good of the country about accountability. But also we should also be keen that in the national government. Agenda you go devolve. To all other places. Is to reduce heat at the top. Okay. Agenda there are people elements to diffuse and to dilute this thing by saying want to talk to the counties. We should not forget that number one, even to the counties, the percentage to the counties. According to the in the national government, the heat should be more where resources at the top. So we should also be keen not to allow elements within the national government. Babu hata even political ambitions, even in the counties, even in the wards and the constituencies, to divert our attention from where the accountability correct. Igorali at the top. No, to correct. If you compare the money to all counties, now the money the percentage where the chief executive and all resources is in the national government.
Yes.
So attempt yoko takago tebanga we are developing agency demonstrations to counties. Does not meaning accountability. It could be employed by those elements in the national government to divert our attention.
Yes.
To basically train the eyes on where the resources are.
Okay.
Yes.
Biamona sana chidega chetu chiairire kulende chitubwatha chinke. Talk a little bit about the swearing in because as we know Kisii County atuna deputy governor up to now. Nebintu bia chitegocha gocha mukusi na manyete mukisi County na manyete pake etwagitigirite ase a court case yarenge ekero the former alikuwa mereria okurusigwa kwa yabisi but ekigambiro gigachigatebanga everything was followed according to the law na ndebono ekarwe go ahead nga the designated deputy governor Elijah Ubebo Atiani. We even saw the gazette notice.
Yes.
So take us through that before we call it a day.
Machakos that was lodged by somebody being at the process that was undertaken in impeachment ya Dr. Monda at the Kisii County Assembly and also at the Senate. Machakos. That case carrying Machakos, orders were given, it was taken back to Nairobi. Justice Ogola can make some decisions. Eventually, back Nyamira as Justice Winfrida Okwanyi. There were orders, conservatory orders. Chukotanga, gazettement the new DG. Not only gazettement of the new DG, but also gazetting or rule office. But we have a decision of the Senate that is in force that was challenged by that petition.
Okay.
So orders to conservatory orders Chukotanga mangana yataga during the pendency petition. Application yokonyora conservative orders that application yokonyora conservative orders yokotanga process ya swearing in ya gazettement ya Elijah Ubebo covered the new deputy governor. That application yokosi conservatory orders was dismissed. Toroj ige petition challenging the process. The main petition. In a case, a case into the main case, and then to several other things we go file with a case. Now go to a case here, can get to several applications.
Okay.
So this case here we took Machakos in about that application, you go tanga mangana, conservatory orders, in the process there.
Yes.
That application was dismissed. A case here can the main suit challenging how the process was conducted at the Kisii County Assembly and the Senate. The main petition is still ongoing. Now, and the court in dismissing the application, ya vegeta conservatory orders katayanga ki onye ke gochagoto kana eventually that the law was not followed in that in the issue yoko
process
the process te bwati boronge. Dr. Monda na bugate other remedies including compensation. Yoko including compensation inga orusi wobisi kimakosa na the process te bwati. Na bugate other remedies. One of the Wajir case kia mnyogete ki governor paka kaganda Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has made a decision that one of the remedies umonta urusi kwa biski makosa. Ekale anyorekana na urusi kwa makosa can be taken back to the office. Abe aira nilugu the office. So there are other remedies mondara anyore other than goteba bono ngaki togo tiga ngane paka ekereki nege go chawo kohera. So conservatory orders ili alengo yogotereni order yogotereni application you kaba dismissed.
Okay.
Tukatika one of the main suit. One of the main suit ne teraera. Mbaje balingo hearing nature about what the process was and all that. But in the meantime, when there was no conservatory order, the county government of Kisii, the office of the governor Kisii, na Elijah Ubebo now filed a suit against IBC ko tanga ki lendo nya there are no conservatory orders siricha be kutu chukutanga process tegenderera. Why don't you get a returning officer for us? Why don't you ensure a process ya swearing in na gazettement ya Elijah Obebo ngo genderere pakere. But before that bataraji ko beke kina before the county government of Kisii, the office of the governor na Elijah Obebo bataraji ko beke kina bakalikira IBC a chief officer Marijano Hussein bakamotebinga ki bono there is no bar conservatory order application is very dismissed.
It was dismissed.
Why are we not being
allowed
to proceed with the swearing in? Because the public interest the county is proceeding. His Excellency Paul Simparati is proceeding to run the county in the absence here deputy governor. Public interest that vacancy still exists.
It's still there.
A process you could feel a vacancy in timelines. It's a constitution. It's interpreted by the Supreme Court. Within 14 days, a governor nominate. Within 60 days, assembly approve, which has been done. What is stopping the process? Bakalikira Marijano say, a CEO IBC. A CEO IBC made a response in a letter to the county government. Eko batebinga ki ntobugati commissioners. Ntobugati commissioners. Ntobugati commissioners ntokonyara ko proceed na gente kaiga. But nade kamanya ko advise the county government. The IBC eko likira the county government of Kisii. Eko batebinga ki but we advise you at this point boniga CEO Oyore Marijano Hussein akota county government of Kisii ngaki ntobugati capacity yo koraki yoko proceed with the position but as decided in a case by the Supreme Court na bomogo seek judicial intervention oyibono no Marijano Hussein
the CEO
who advise the county government of Kisii ekeroba mulikere rubenga ki proceed with the process akaraba advising a judicial intervention Yoko compel CEO a proceed in a process as had happened in other cases previous. Now based on that decision, CEO ya IBC, the county government of Kisii Bonega decide let us enjoin the governor who is working without a deputy. Let us also enjoin
the deputy,
the designated deputy, Elijah Obebo. Let us enjoin Dr. Monda as an interested party. So that case proceeded. IBC, why are you not proceeding? Give us a declaration to proceed. And that case was successful. After that case was successful, it was declared wrong. Kogenda keep account in abeyance to the deputy governor, while there is no order barring that. There is nothing in law
that is
stopping a process you kogenda. Egateba bono litigabe decision egateba tiga Elijah Obebo a proceed ko gazetted.
All right.
As the deputy governor. And that is why you saw the gazette, and that is why anytime soon we are having a swearing in.
All right.
Yes.
So then it means even the swearing in ever done deputy, still we have an active case going on.
Yes.
Determining was the process followed for Monda to be kicked out?
Yes.
A decision determining
we can't be operating according to the decision the court. We can't be operating without a deputy governor.
So anytime soon atakuwa sworn because there is no bar
in place.
All right.
Okay. Then that the Kisii county government is fully represented by the people.
All right. Joshua Kabolinga yani governor ta karakasi tagendera tigasi already kalera buyeka bona na gendera lindi agoteba sonko takoleta buyeka ta deputy.
Abantu baroma ede banje tekubuna lichiko na bagotiga gente open so that we can manipulate, but the governor in his wisdom he wants to have a deputy. Amoy roles chair.
All right. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that to us. Chris Arugagoteba, karibu tena wakili. We have really enjoyed your show.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. No narodha intoba bwate Etaya TV yakoro kunyangwara. Nyangwara uko wapi? Totavyo osukasukie hiro yao because we are everywhere. We are everywhere. Mbiamono sana. Wakili, you have any parting shot because we call it a day here.
Mbiamono umuligere bweta TV. Umuligere bweta TV na Roma etoko era tuachagega tuakorea tobo sengo cha sabantu baito ba kurigeria ta TV. So we are grateful ngango gendera muri kubwatie kipindi kia lichiko every Thursday na nde tugo sabango morembe o nyasaye ogendera ko bana barigirire baitu nyasaye ngo ina nde pake karutoro mera nenga kiende.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much Wakili. Thanks for finding time.
Thank you.
Go chagodis pros kabisa go use knowledge and wisdom kikatiba. Umetha ndakanaga ke lakini translation etagete omonto bwate ebirengo byigoro na Wakili. Kwa kwenda kwa Wakili George Morara Bwakuma Muhamaiga Mangi. Kwa Wakili Zalma Bonuke Muhamaiga Mangi.
Thank you.
The legal team yonsipi ya maiga. Kwa alaga bana weta ndega motebita breakfast show ya moira maiga. Mwancho muligeria tia tukulira bo asebono morobiri bweta breakfast show na botambe okoleto na nchintingana yeta breakfast sara nyarangi Ontita.